traders, and welcome to a new day trading strategy video of mine. Today's video is going to be on significant trades, the trading tool. And this is a tool that displays market buy and market sell data across 10 major exchanges that you can select, as you can see here. So I came across this tool from my Discord when a Discord user had posted this tool, and then I ever since have been using the tool for mostly scalping and for looking for short-term reversals. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the settings of this tool, and we're also going to be taking a look at strategy and implementation. So currently I just have set up BitMEX, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add the major exchanges, so Binance, BitMEX, GDAX, and of course Bitfinex. So let's add those. And yeah, I'm just going to keep it at those major 4 exchanges for right now. For the settings, I like to put max rows at 5, time frame at 0.5%. What this does is it is how much smoothing the price line is going to get. And average price I just keep at default, and I check these 2 boxes, as you can see. The last thing that I do with the settings is I put the trades counter here up to the highest possible value, as you can see. Basically, the only reason I did that is what the default version of this site does is it posts trades here. So any significant trades, it's going to post them down here. But I found that lagged out my computer a lot. So here I just decided to just have no trades being posted down there. All right, so now let's take a look at the chart and how we can interpret it. So here, the one that I just clicked it here, the button I just clicked, this is going to allow us to go to any span of minutes that we want to get. So this is the past hour, and this is also live. So I can see exactly what's going on. Settings, live mode or stop live mode, and this allows you to open it as a separate window. So on the chart, what we see is whenever you see these triangles, so up or down, down would be a significant trade, so a very large sell or a very large buy. This is a very large buy, very large sell, and so on. And the bigger the triangle is, the bigger the trade itself is. So if I zoom out, we may even be able to see some very, very large trades that have occurred. And it seems like a lot of these trades are around the smaller size. But we will be seeing some larger trades a little bit later. Additionally, you can see these diamonds here are liquidations. So a red is going to be a liquidated, as you can see here. The red one here is going to be a liquidated short. And as you can see there. And we also have liquidated longs on this data as well. So basically you can just zoom in, zoom out, you can scroll using this tool as well. And one feature that I've found to be very helpful with this tool is not just the visual aspect, but it does give you a statistical reading of exactly how much Bitcoin has been market bought or market sold, similar to what TensorCharts.com does. So let me just show that here. So if I want the price and volume information from this, let me just shift click over this. And here, yeah, here popped up. So from the time of 1552 to 1558, we had 20.6 million Bitcoin being market bought and 9.7 million Bitcoin being market sold. And we can see the exact statistics here that I find pretty cool. You can see the percent breakdown, of each exchange and so on. We had a lot of GDAX buying, and on BitMEX, we had a large amount of buying as well. All throughout here, we had a large amount of buying, as you can see. And at that point in time, at 1552 to 1558, that was here to here. Yep, and that was right before price began to move down, likely because of the large amount of buying that had occurred there. And that segues into the strategy portion that I wanted to put in this video, which is what do we do with this information and how can I adapt this to actual trading on my own exchange that I'm trading on? I've done sentiment videos on buying and selling data on bfxdata.com, That site has now been taken down, BFX data. The information doesn't come from that site anymore. So this is like another version of bfxdata.com, except it pulls data from multiple exchanges now for buying and selling and not just Bitfinex. But you could just get Bitfinex data only if you would like to. I'm going to be using a similar sentiment setup that I would use on BFX data. So if you want to go check out my previous videos on sentiment, on looking at buying and selling data, that's going to really apply to this tool as well. So let's go to the last 4 hours, which would be 240 minutes. And let's just take a look at spots within an uptrend and spots within a downtrend where we had large amounts of volume being transacted. So we can see here the absolute top of this entire chart, and really the top of this uptrend, we had the largest amount of volume, which isn't surprising. We had 2.5 million Bitcoin, dollars worth of Bitcoin being sold, not 2.5 million Bitcoin. That would be insane. And then also here we had 1.6 million Bitcoin being market sold. So the scale is a bit off. You know, this is much higher than this. This should not be this high. You know, this visually should be like down here. But we can see that we have a large amount of volume being transacted here. And the importance of that is whenever we see a major amount of volume being transacted, we typically expect that that trend is going to have a harder time continuing. So if we have an uptrend, as you can see here, and then we have this happen, what does that mean? Well, typically in an uptrend, we have many sideline buyers who are waiting to market buy and push the price higher. And the moment that many of these sideline buyers just rush in and begin to market buy is typically going to be the peak of the uptrend. That doesn't necessarily mean that the uptrend is going to turn into a downtrend, but what it does mean is that price is going to have a harder time moving higher, and price is likely to consolidate or retrace or reverse. So if we look at a few examples of significant volume on these 4 exchanges here, we see that we had a large amount of volume being transacted here and liquidations, so price just began to just move sideways for a bit before slowly moving up again. Here we have a large amount of volume again, as you can see. Let me just zoom into this price portion here where we had the large amount of volume within the uptrend. Yep, and you can see the amount of volume we have transacted here, and then price began to move sideways, and then it began to move down here. I will say though, to some traders' points who might be looking at this tool, this is a very, very zoomed in price and volume chart. As you can see, the price difference here, this is 65.34 and this is 65.13. So I would highly not recommend this tool for anyone who's not looking to scalp or to very short-term trade, or even trying to take advantage of the order book, you know, even more short-term than scalping. This is not a tool for one who's looking to trade on the 1 hour chart or one who's looking to use swing trading techniques. But what it can show us is price spots that are likely to reverse or to move sideways. And that's what we saw here when we have this significant amount of volume being transacted. And then price began to move sideways. However, if you do want a more long-term setup with this, what you can do is you can change this to a higher value. And if you change that to a higher value, that's going to be stacking more price data together so that you can look at it more zoomed out without the entire chart, you know, really lagging. And another way that I like to look at this is sometimes I just like to look at one exchange. So if I don't want to pull any of this data together, and let's say I just want Bitfinex data, that can actually be a really good way to look at Bitfinex data with a nice type of volume, because TradingView does not offer market buy volume versus market sell volume. TensorCharts.com does, and this site is going to offer you that market buy and that market sell data in the short term, which can be very, very helpful if you are scalping. The only downside of this site that I have found is it does have some lag, and it does take some time for some of the information to load. But regardless, I found that this information has been very helpful for me making my trades. So if we look at a few examples here, we can see, you know, we have a very high amount of volume being transacted here. This is just on Bitfinex, so 1.5 million, let me go here, 1.5 million on just one exchange is a large amount of volume. Before I was looking at 4 exchanges added together, so that's why, you know, I was saying it's all relative, of course. Now, one more note is futures data is going to look different than just standard exchange data. So when you compare Bitfinex and BitMEX or add them together using the significant trades tool, the data can be a little bit iffy because futures contracts do not directly equate to just typical, you know, spot trading where I buy an actual Bitcoin or I sell an actual Bitcoin, and I'm not buying an actual derivative such as like a futures contract that I want on BitMEX. So do be wary when you add BitMEX and some other changes together, because that could do some strange things to your data. But here we can see that this is just genuine buying and selling data. And typically at those major volume spikes, that is where we had some major reversals occur. Just like here, where we had a large amount of selling, so price went up. Here we had a decent amount of selling and buying, and price is beginning to stall right now. And when we really zoom out, I mean, it really shows us right here. This is actually pretty cool. I've never zoomed out this far using this tool before. What we see is just not much volume, not much volume, not much volume, and then we have a massive amount of selling at 452. Right after the downtrend, or really during the downtrend likely occurred, we have a large amount of selling from here down to here. And price just wasn't able to go any lower. So price just continued to go higher here. And I think if I even zoomed out more, you'd get some good data as well. I don't think that I think that there is a limit to how much data you can get for how much it can handle. But if you would like, you can also potentially just maybe look at BitMEX data and trade against BitMEX data, as many traders like to typically do. So as you can see here, let's say I just want to go to the 240. I think it doesn't want to go to the 240 right now, so you can see. But right here it's live, and it is looking at 1702 all the way back to 1138. So that's about 6 hours of time. If I zoom in here, that's about 1702 to about 1501. So it's about 2 hours. And you can even use this data as well if you're trading on BitMEX, and you can try to look for where large amounts of liquidations occur and then trying to trade against those markets. And of course, to finish off this video, if you want to, you could just add every single exchange together like this. But I will warn that this is going to likely lag the chart and potentially freeze it. But here we have all 10 exchanges. And if we add this here, I'm gonna load just 60 to see if that works. Yeah, and I don't think that this one's going to load. I think that that's a little bit too much information for the significant trades tool. So this tool isn't really anything hyper complex or anything that's really different than anything else that's offered for free online. But this is just another tool that one could use to look for large spots of market selling or large spots of market buying, or just large overall spots of volume, and then try to trade against that volume. If you have any more further questions on looking at market sell or looking at market buy data and what that means, feel free to shoot me an email or contact me on the Discord. Happy trading.